One human ship versus entire fleet. The Empire's worst mistake. HFY, Sci-Fi. Story. Space was silent, dark, cold. But then came the sound of engines roaring at full power. A small ship burst through the darkness. It was called the Defiance. The ship was scarred from battle. Burns marked its hull. One wing was damaged. But it kept flying, fast. Behind it, the darkness lit up with hundreds of lights, ship engines, weapons charging. A fleet so large it looked like a moving city in space. 500 warships, all chasing one small human vessel. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Marcus stood calmly. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many battles. Around him, his crew worked frantically at their stations. "Captain," his weapons officer shouted. "They're firing again." Red light streaked past the ship. Plasma bolts, each one hot enough to melt metal. Marcus didn't flinch. He watched the view screen calmly. "Dodge pattern 7, he said quietly. The ship twisted left, then right, then dropped suddenly. The plasma bolts missed. Barely. A young officer at the navigation station was sweating. His hands shook on the controls. "Captain, we can't keep this up forever. There are too many." 500 ships to our one, another crew member added. Her voice was scared. "We should surrender." Marcus turned to look at them. His face was calm, almost peaceful. "Surrender?" He smiled slightly. "That's what they expect us to do." "But Captain..." "Tell me," Marcus interrupted. "What's their first mistake?" The crew looked confused. First mistake? They were about to die and the captain was asking riddles. Marcus answered his own question. "They think numbers matter." 6 hours earlier, the scene was very different. Far away on the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon sat on his massive throne. He was huge, 3 times the size of a human. His skin was red and covered in scales, forearms, sharp teeth, eyes that glowed yellow. Around him, his war council stood at attention. Generals, admirals, all wearing armor decorated with medals from 100 conquered worlds. "Show me," the Emperor commanded. His voice was deep. It echoed in the throne room. A hologram appeared. It showed a map of space. Territory lines glowed in different colors. Red for the Crithian Empire. It covered half the map. Blue for human space. It was small. So small, the Emperor laughed. It was a terrible sound. Like thunder. This tiny speck is human territory." "Yes, my lord," his chief general replied, pathetic. The Emperor slammed one of his fists on the throne arm. "These humans are weak, small. We will crush them easily." An advisor stepped forward nervously. He was old, careful. "My lord, we received a report 1 hour ago. A human ship entered our space." "A ship?" The Emperor leaned forward. "They dare to invade my empire?" "Just one ship, my lord, small. Probably a scout." The Emperor stood. He was enormous. His shadow covered the floor. "One ship? They mock me with one ship?" He turned to his fleet admiral. "Send the 3rd Fleet, all of it." The admiral's eyes widened. "My lord, the 3rd Fleet has 500 warships. For one human scout?" "Yes." The Emperor roared. "I want them to see our power. I want them to know what happens when they enter Crithian space. Send 500 ships. Destroy that one vessel. Send the wreckage back to Earth as a message." The old advisor spoke again. "My lord, perhaps caution is wise. We know little about human military capabilities. They are unpredictable." "Silence!" The Emperor's roar shook the room. "I don't care about human tricks. 500 ships against one. There is no battle. Only execution. Go, do it now." The admiral bowed. "As you command, my lord." Back in space, in the present, Marcus watched his screen. The 500 ships were getting closer. Their formation was perfect. Organized. Military precision. "They fight like they were taught in academy," Marcus said to himself. "Formations, rules, honor." His second-in-command looked at him. "And how do we fight?" Marcus smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator. "We fight to survive." The ship shook as an explosion happened nearby. "Close, too close, shields at 40%.
Someone called out. "They're hurting us," the navigator said.
"Pushing us toward the asteroid field." Marcus nodded. "I know. Captain, if we enter that field, we'll be trapped. No way out." "Exactly," Marcus said calmly. The crew stared at him. Was their captain crazy? On the lead Krithian warship, Commander Thax watched his screen with satisfaction. He was the fleet commander, chosen by the Emperor himself for this important mission. The human is running straight for the asteroid field, his tactical officer reported. Perfect, Thax said. His voice was full of confidence. They have nowhere to go, trapped like rats, his second officer frowned. Sir, should we be cautious? The Emperor's advisor mentioned humans are unpredictable. Thax laughed. Unpredictable? Look at our fleet. 500 of the finest warships in the galaxy. Look at them. One small damaged ship, there is nothing to fear. All ships, Thax commanded over the fleet channel, follow the human into the asteroid field. Surround them. I want no escape. We end this now. 500 ships acknowledged. 500 ships followed orders. 500 ships entered the asteroid field. The Defiance flew between massive rocks floating in space. Left, right, down, up, moving like a fish through water. The Krithian ships followed. Their perfect formation broke apart in the chaos of asteroids. Then the Defiance disappeared behind a huge asteroid. Find it, Thax ordered. Scan everything. Sensors swept the area, nothing. The human ship was gone. Sir, we've lost visual contact, the sensor officer reported. Thax smiled. It doesn't matter. Fire missiles into that asteroid cluster. Saturate the area. The human ship is small. It cannot survive. Hundreds of missiles launched. They streaked through space like angry hornets. They hit asteroids. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Light filled the darkness. Target destroyed, the weapons officer confirmed. Thax leaned back in his chair. Report to the Emperor. 1 human ship destroyed. Mission accomplished, but then his screen changed. An alarm blared. Red lights flashed. Sir. The sensor officer's voice was panicked. Contact above us. On the screen, the Defiance appeared. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Floating calmly above the Krithian fleet. Like it had been waiting there all along. Thax jumped to his feet. How did... The communication system activated. A human face appeared. Captain Marcus. He looked directly at Thax through the screen. Hello, Commander, Marcus said calmly. Did you really think I was running? Thax's jaw tightened. You're surrounded. 500 ships against 1. Yes, Marcus agreed. You made 3 mistakes today. Mistakes? Thax growled. You dare... First mistake, Marcus continued, ignoring him. You thought 1 ship meant weakness, my second. Mistake, you followed me without... thinking. Third mistake. You assumed. Humans fight like you do. Thax was about to respond when his tactical officer shouted, Sir, systems malfunction. Multiple systems failing. What? Thax turned. All around the bridge, screens flickered. Red warnings appeared. Systems went offline. Then online. Then offline again. We're infected. The tech officer screamed. A virus in our network. Thax's eyes widened. He looked at the screen, at Marcus's calm face. While you chased me, Marcus explained, my ship was broadcasting. Every second you followed, the virus spread through your fleet network. Ship to ship. System to system. No, Thax whispered. 500 ships, Marcus said. All connected. All infected. All vulnerable. Marcus's eyes turned cold. Hard. Now let me show you what 1 human ship can really do. The Krithian fleet floated in chaos. 500 warships, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. But now their screens flickered. Their weapons misfired. Their shields turned on and off randomly. Commander Thax gripped his command chair. Status report now. His tech officer's fingers moved frantically across his console. Sir, the virus is in everything. Navigation, weapons, shields, communications. It's rewriting our code. How long to purge it? Hours, sir. Maybe days. It's unlike anything we've seen. It adapts. When we delete one part, it rebuilds somewhere else. Thax's face turned darker red. Anger. Fear. He opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships. Disconnect from the network. Shut down all connections. Sir, his second officer said quietly. If we disconnect, we can't coordinate. We'll be 500 individual ships with no communication. Better than being 500 infected ships. Thax roared. On the Defiance, Marcus watched his screen. He saw the Krithian ship scrambling, disconnecting, panicking. The virus is working perfectly, his tech officer reported. She was young, smart. Her name was Lisa. She had designed the virus herself. Their systems are degrading by the minute. Good work, Marcus said. He turned to his weapons officer. Chen, status on our weapons? The weapons officer checked his displays. Fully charged, Captain. All systems green. Marcus nodded slowly. His crew watched him, waiting. They had been running for hours, scared. Now the captain had turned the tables. But they were still one ship against 500. Captain, the young navigator spoke. His name was Tom. What do we do now? Marcus looked at the view screen, at the massive fleet surrounding them. Any one of those ships could destroy the Defiance. Even with the virus, even with damaged systems, the numbers were impossible. Now, Marcus said calmly, we show them why you never corner a human. He pressed a button. The ship's engines roared to life. The Defiance shot forward, straight toward the nearest Crithian warship. Sir, Tom shouted. We're on collision course. I know, Marcus replied. The Crithian ship tried to move. Its engines fired. But the virus made them stutter. Fire, stop, fire, stop. The ship moved slowly, too slowly. The Defiance flew straight at it. Then at the last second, Marcus pulled up. The human ship flew over the Crithian vessel. So close they almost touched. As they passed, Marcus fired. One precise shot. It hit the Crithian ship's engine core. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The Crithian ship broke apart. Debris scattered in all directions. Two nearby ships couldn't dodge fast enough. The debris smashed into them. More explosions. 3 ships destroyed in seconds. On Thax's command ship, alarms blared. 3 ships lost, an officer reported. Sections 7, 8, and 9. Thax couldn't believe it. 3 ships from one shot? The human used our own ships against us, sir. The debris, I can see what happened, Thax interrupted. He opened communications. All ships! Fire at will. Destroy that human vessel. Hundreds of weapons charged. Plasma cannons. Missile tubes. Energy beams. All targeting the Defiance they fired. Space lit up like a sun. Weapons fire from every direction. All converging on one small ship. But the Defiance wasn't there anymore. Marcus had predicted it. The moment he fired, he was already moving. Down left, spinning. The human ship danced through the weapon fire like it was performing ballet. How is he doing that? A Crethian gunner asked. Their reflexes, another replied. Humans evolved as hunters. They can track fast-moving targets. Predict trajectories. They see patterns we miss. The Defiance continued its deadly dance. Marcus's hands moved on the controls. Not thinking. Just reacting. Years of training. Years of survival. His body knew what to do, Tom, Marcus said calmly. Take us through that debris field. Captain, that's too dangerous. Trust me, Tom swallowed hard. But he trusted his captain. He flew the ship into the debris. Pieces of destroyed Crithian vessels, metal, wires, still burning fuel. The Defiance weaved through it all. Behind them, Crithian ships followed. But they were bigger, slower, less agile. Several ships crashed into debris. More explosions. Humans don't fight with honor, Thax growled. They fight like animals. His old advisor had been right. Humans were unpredictable, dangerous. They didn't follow rules. They adapted, improvised, survived. Marcus checked his display. 10 Crithian ships destroyed now. 490 remained. Still impossible odds. But the number was going down. Captain, Lisa called out. The virus has fully integrated into their network. I can see their fleet positions. Their weapon status, everything. Send it to navigation, Marcus ordered. Tom, avoid any ship with functioning weapons. Target the weakest ones first. Yes, sir. The Defiance changed tactics. Instead of random evasion, Marcus now flew with purpose. He knew which ships were dangerous, which were vulnerable. He moved like a shark in water, targeting the weak, avoiding the strong. Another shot. Another Crithian ship exploded. Then another. Then 3 more in quick succession. Marcus used the asteroids as weapons. He shot them so they tumbled into Crithian ships. Used destroyed vessels as shields. Every human tactic confused the aliens. On the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon watched the battlefeed. His throne room was silent. No one dared speak. The screen showed his mighty fleet struggling. 20 ships destroyed. 30, 40, all by one human vessel. This cannot be happening, the Emperor whispered. 500 ship and his old advisor stood nearby. My lord, humans fight differently than we do. They don't value honor over victory. They value survival over everything. Silence, the Emperor roared. But his voice lacked confidence. Fear crept into his heart. Send reinforcements. I want that ship destroyed. My lord, the fleet coordinator said carefully. The nearest fleet is 3 days away. 3 days. The Emperor looked at the screen. At the rate the human was destroying his ships, the battle would be over long before then. Back in space, Marcus was tired. His arms ached from constant flying. His eyes burned from staring at screens. But he couldn't stop. Not yet. Ammunition status? He asked. 30% remaining, Chen reported. Marcus nodded. 30%. That wasn't enough to destroy 450 ships. Not even close. He needed a new plan. He looked at the asteroid field. The massive rocks floating in space. Millions of tons of stone and metal. Potentially deadly if used correctly. An idea formed in his mind. Dangerous. Crazy. Typical human thinking. Tom, Marcus said, take us to the largest asteroid. The one at coordinate 773. Tom checked his screen. Captain, that asteroid is the size of a small moon. Why, he stopped. He saw the look on Marcus's face. The smile. The predator's smile. Oh no, Tom whispered. Captain, you're not thinking... I am, Marcus confirmed. Lisa, divert all non-essential power to the mining lasers. Mining lasers? Lisa was confused. Captain, those are for cutting rock. They're not weapons. They are today, Marcus interrupted. The Defiance flew toward the massive asteroid. Thax saw it on his screen. The human is running again, he announced. All ships, pursue! Don't let him escape. But Marcus wasn't running. He was preparing. The Defiance reached the asteroid. Marcus activated the mining lasers. Bright blue beams shot out. They touched the asteroid's surface. Began cutting, deep, precise, controlled. What is he doing? A Crithian officer asked. No one answered. Because no one knew. But they were about to find out. Marcus cut a perfect line across the asteroid. Then another. Then another. Creating a pattern. A web of cuts. All precisely placed, Captain, Chen said slowly. If you cut it like that, the asteroid will break apart, Marcus finished. Into hundreds of pieces, all traveling toward the Crithian fleet. The crew stared at him. Their captain was insane, brilliant, terrifying. All at once, Marcus made the final cut. The massive asteroid shuddered, cracked, then broke apart, exactly as planned. Hundreds of pieces, some as big as houses, some as big as ships, all floating toward the Crithian fleet, fast, deadly, unstoppable. Evasive maneuvers, Thax screamed. All ships! Scatter! But the virus slowed their responses. Their engines stuttered. Their shields failed. The asteroid pieces hit them like bullets. Ships were smashed, crushed, destroyed. Marcus watched calmly. Phase 2 complete, space became a storm of death. Hundreds of asteroid pieces flew through the Crithian fleet like bullets. Each piece was massive, heavy, moving fast. The first piece hit a Crithian destroyer. The ship's shields tried to activate, failed, activated again. Too late. The rock smashed through the hull. The ship split in two. Both halves exploded. Brace for impact! Voices screamed across multiple Crithian ships. More pieces hit. More ships died. Some vessels tried to shoot the asteroids. Their weapons misfired because of the virus. Shot in wrong directions. Hit their own ships by accident. 47 ships destroyed. Thax's tactical officer reported. His voice was shaking. 62 damaged. Fleet integrity compromised. Thax couldn't speak. He watched his mighty fleet being torn apart. Not by weapons. Not by another fleet, by rocks. And one human who knew how to use them. On the Defiance, Marcus watched the chaos. His face showed no emotion. But inside, his heart pounded. This was working. Actually working, Captain, Tom said quietly. We've destroyed over 100 ships now. Marcus nodded. 100 down. 400 remaining. Still too many. But the odds were better than before. Don't celebrate yet, Marcus said. They're still learning. Still adapting. We need to keep them confused. How? Lisa asked. Marcus studied his screen. The Crithian fleet was scattered now. Their perfect formation was gone. Ships floated in random positions. Some damaged. Some functional. All confused. Chen, Marcus ordered. Target the command ships. The big ones with all the antennas. Command ships? Chen's eyes widened. Captain, those have the strongest shields. The most armor. Even with the virus. That's why we're not shooting at them, Marcus interrupted. Tom, fly us close to that command cruiser. The one at bearing 237. Tom obeyed. The Defiance accelerated toward a massive Crithian command ship. It was 3 times the size of the Defiance, covered in weapons, armor plates, power radiating from its engines. The command ship saw them coming, tried to fire. Its weapons charged slowly, virus making everything sluggish. The Defiance flew straight at it, then at the last moment dove underneath. Marcus fired, but not at the command ship. He fired at a smaller ship behind it, a damaged frigate barely functioning. The shot hit the frigate's fuel tanks. The explosion was enormous. A ball of fire expanded rapidly. It engulfed the command ship above it. The command ship's shields were down. The virus had deactivated them minutes ago. The fire consumed the ship, melted its hull, destroyed its systems. The massive vessel broke apart slowly, majestically, like a dying giant. Command Ship 7 destroyed. Someone reported on the Crithian communication channel. Panic spread through the fleet. Command ships were supposed to be safe, invincible. Now they were targets. Clever, Thax muttered. Use our own damaged ships as bombs. His second officer looked worried. Sir, morale is collapsing. Ships are requesting permission to retreat. Denied, Thax roared. The Emperor ordered us to destroy that human ship. We will not fail. But failure was happening. All around them, Marcus continued his strategy. He didn't fight fair. He fought smart, used every advantage, every weakness, every mistake the Crithians made. He flew the Defiance through debris fields. The Crithian ships followed but crashed into wreckage. He used asteroids as shields, shot small rocks at pursuing ships, made them dodge, made them crash into each other. It's like a dance, Lisa said, watching Marcus work. You predict what they'll do before they do it. Marcus smiled slightly. Humans are good at patterns. We evolved hunting animals that ran in predictable ways. The Crithians fight with military precision. That makes them predictable. Another explosion lit up space. Another Crithian ship destroyed. Then 2 more. Then 5. On the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon stood from his throne. His hands were fists. His eyes burned with rage and fear. 150 ships, he shouted. 150 of my warships destroyed by 1 human. His war council said nothing. What could they say? The evidence was on the screen. Their mighty fleet was being destroyed. Their tactics weren't working. Their technology was infected. Their pride was shattered. My lord, the old advisor spoke carefully. Perhaps we should consider what? The Emperor demanded. Surrender, retreat? Admit defeat to a species we called weak? My lord, pride has already cost us 150 ships. How many more will it cost? The Emperor wanted to argue, wanted to rage, but the old advisor was right. This battle was lost. The question was how much more they would lose before admitting it. Back in space, Marcus checked his ammunition. Chen, how much do we have left? 15%, Captain. 15%. Maybe enough for 30 more shots. 30 shots against 400 ships. Still impossible. Lisa, status on the virus. It's stable, Captain. Spreading to any ship that tries to reconnect to the network. But some ships are learning. They're staying disconnected, fighting independently. Marcus nodded. That was the problem with smart enemies. They learned, adapted, just like humans did. Tom, take us to grid section 449, the dense asteroid cluster. Captain, that's the most dangerous part of the field. The asteroids are packed tight. One wrong move, I know, Marcus said. That's why we're going there. The Defiance flew toward the dense cluster. Behind them, Thax made a decision. He opened a channel to all remaining ships. All vessels, he announced. New strategy. Do not follow the human into asteroid fields. Do not maintain formation. Spread out. Attack from all directions simultaneously. Overwhelm him with numbers. He cannot dodge 400 ships firing at once. His officers nodded. Finally, a good strategy. Finally using their advantage, all ships, Thax continued. Surround the human. Maximum dispersal. On my mark. Fire everything. 400 ships moved. They spread out. Formed a sphere around the Defiance. No matter which direction Marcus flew, ships waited. Weapons charged, targeting systems locked on. Inside the Defiance, alarms blared. Captain, Tom shouted. We're surrounded. Completely. Marcus looked at his screen. Ships in every direction, all charging weapons, all ready to fire. Even with the virus, even damaged, 400 ships firing together would destroy the Defiance instantly. His crew looked at him, waiting, hoping. Their captain always had a plan. Always had a trick. Marcus studied the screen, calculated distances, weapon ranges, asteroid positions. His mind worked faster than ever, looking for the answer. The escape. The miracle, Captain. Chen's voice was quiet, scared. What do we do? Marcus saw it. The solution. It was crazy, impossible, likely to kill them all. But it was the only option. Lisa, Marcus said calmly. Overload the reactor. Route all power to shields and engines. Overload? Lisa's face went pale. Captain, if we overload the reactor, it could explode. We'll have maybe 60 seconds before— I know, Marcus interrupted. 60 seconds is all I need. For what? Marcus smiled. That predator smile. That human smile. To do something they'll never expect. He activated the communication system. Sent a message to all Crithian ships. Commander Thax, you wanted to know how humans fight. Now I'll show you. Thax frowned. What is he planning? Sir, the human ship's reactor is spiking, the sensor officer reported. Power levels rising. They're overloading it deliberately. Why would they— Thax stopped. His eyes widened. No, he wouldn't. That's suicide. But Marcus would, because sometimes survival meant risking everything. All power to engines, Marcus commanded. Tom, when I give the word, full acceleration. Straight up into 400 ships. Tom couldn't believe it. Trust me, Marcus said. The reactor overloaded. Power flooded through the Defiance. The ship glowed. Energy crackled across its hull. Now! Marcus shouted. The Defiance shot upward. Faster than it had ever moved. Faster than physics should allow. A blazing comet of light and energy. The Crithian ships fired. All of them at once. Weapons lit up space. But the Defiance was too fast. Moving at impossible speed. Marcus aimed for the weakest point in their formation. A gap between two damaged cruisers. The Defiance flew through. The Crithian weapons hit each other. Ships that were supposed to destroy the human instead destroyed themselves. Explosions bloomed everywhere. 20 ships, 30, 40. All destroyed by their own fleet's weapons. The Defiance shot out of the explosion cloud. Smoke trailed behind it. The hull was scorched black. Systems sparked. But the ship was alive, still fighting. Inside, the crew caught their breath. That maneuver had nearly killed them all. The reactor was seconds from exploding. Tom had pulled them out just in time. Status report, Marcus said. His voice was steady despite his racing heart. Shields at 5%, Chen reported. Weapons down to 8% ammunition. Engines overheated. We need repairs badly. How many Crithian ships left? Lisa checked her screen. 350, Captain. We destroyed 50 more with that maneuver. They destroyed themselves trying to hit us. Marcus nodded slowly. 350 ships remaining. His ship was barely functional. His crew was exhausted. His ammunition almost gone. But something had changed. On Thax's command ship, the bridge was silent. Officers stared at their screens in shock. 250 ships destroyed. Half their fleet gone, all by one human vessel, sir. The tactical officer spoke quietly. Morale is at critical levels. Several ships are reporting crews refusing orders. They want to leave. Thax's jaw tightened. He understood. His warriors had trained their entire lives. They were brave, skilled, but this was different. This wasn't a battle. This was a nightmare. Fighting an enemy that couldn't be predicted. Couldn't be stopped. An enemy that turned their own strength against them. Sir, another officer said. The human ship is hailing us. Put it on screen, Thax ordered. Marcus's face appeared. He looked tired. Blood dripped from a cut on his forehead. His uniform was torn, but his eyes were clear, determined. Commander Thax, Marcus said. We need to talk. Talk? Thax's voice was bitter. You've destroyed half my fleet and you want to talk? Yes, Marcus replied calmly. Because this doesn't have to continue. Thax leaned forward. What are you saying? Marcus took a breath. Your emperor sent you here to destroy one human ship. To send a message. To prove Crithian power. But look around you, Commander. 250 ships destroyed. Thousands of your people dead. And for what pride? Thax said nothing. The words hit hard. True words, your warriors are brave, Marcus continued. They followed orders. They fought well. But they were sent here to die for no good reason. Your emperor didn't care about them. He only cared about his pride. On the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon watched this conversation. His face darkened with rage. But he didn't speak. He couldn't. Because the human was right. I'm giving you a choice, Marcus said. His voice was clear, strong. It carried across all Crithian ships because Thax had left the channel open. Every ship heard. Every warrior listened. You can keep fighting, Marcus said. Keep dying. Try to destroy my ship. Maybe you'll succeed. Maybe 350 ships can do what 500 couldn't. But how many more of you will die first? 100? 200? All of you? Silence. Every Crithian warrior thought about that. Thought about their families, their homes, their lives. Or, Marcus continued, you can choose to live. You can leave this place. Go home. See your families again. No shame in that. You fought well. You survived. That's victory enough, Thax wanted to argue. Wanted to scream. But he couldn't, because every word Marcus spoke made sense. I don't want to kill more of you, Marcus said. This battle proved nothing except that war is waste. Waste of life, waste of resources, waste of potential. But the choice is yours. Stay and die, or leave and live. Marcus ended the transmission. On Thax's bridge, no one moved. No one spoke. The commander sat in his chair thinking, calculating. What would he do? Then something happened. On the fleet display, one ship turned. One Crithian destroyer changed direction, started flying away from the battle, away from the Defiance. Sir, an officer called out. The destroyer Crimson Talon is leaving formation. Thax watched the screen. One ship became 2, then 5, then 10. Warriors making their choice. Choosing life over death, family over pride. Stop them, Thax roared. Order them to return. But more ships left, 20, 30, 50. They didn't want to die anymore. Didn't want to fight an enemy they couldn't beat. They had seen enough. Lost enough. Emperor Zarkon watched his fleet abandon the battle. His hands gripped his throne so hard the stone cracked. Cowards! He screamed. Traitors! I'll have them all executed! His old advisor spoke softly. My lord, they're not cowards. They're survivors. Just like the humans. The Emperor turned to him. What did you say? The humans survived because they knew when to fight and when to retreat. Maybe we should learn from them. On Thax's ship, 100 ships had left. Then 150. Then 200. The fleet was dissolving. Warriors choosing wisdom over obedience. Finally, only 50 ships remained. The loyal ones. The ones who couldn't abandon their commander. The ones whose pride was stronger than their fear. Thax looked at these 50 ships on his display. His most faithful warriors. They stayed when others fled. They stood when others ran, sir, his second officer said. 50 ships. That's still more than enough to destroy one damaged human vessel. Thax nodded slowly. It was true. The Defiance was barely functional. One good hit would destroy it. 50 ships could do that. But Thax had learned something today. He had learned that numbers didn't guarantee victory. That one determined enemy could defeat hundreds. That humans were more dangerous than anyone believed. Sir, what are your orders? The tactical officer asked. Thax stared at the screen. At the Defiance floating in space, damaged, smoking, nearly destroyed. But still there. Still defiant. Living up to its name. Thax opened a communication channel. Human captain. You said this battle proved nothing. You're wrong. It proved that we underestimated your species. That mistake cost us dearly. Marcus's face appeared on screen again. Then leave, Commander. Take your remaining ships and go home. No more need to die today. I want to, Thax admitted. But I cannot. The Emperor is watching. If I retreat, he'll call me coward. Execute me and my crew. Destroy our families. I have no choice but to fight. Marcus's expression softened. I understand orders, duty, honor, I respect that. So we fight? Thax asked. If we must, Marcus replied. But Commander, your Emperor is watching from safety while you die out here. Remember that. Thax closed the channel. He looked at his remaining 50 ships. Good ships. Good warriors. They deserved better than this, all ships, Thax commanded. Final formation. Spread attack pattern. We end this now. One way or another. The 50 ships moved into position. Surrounded the Defiance again. But smarter this time. Wider spacing. No tight formation. No easy targets. On the Defiance, Marcus watched them come. Captain, Tom said quietly. We can't survive this. We're too damaged, too weak. They'll destroy us. Marcus said nothing for a moment. He thought about Earth. about humanity's first steps into the galaxy, about this battle that would be remembered forever. Maybe, Marcus finally said, but we made them pay for every inch. We showed them humans don't surrender. We fought 500 ships with one. We'll fight 50 the same way. But how? Chen asked. We have no ammunition. No shields. Oh, we have one thing, Marcus interrupted. We have them believing we might still have tricks left. We have their fear. That's a weapon, too. He activated the ship's external speakers, sent a message to all 50 Crithian ships. This is Captain Marcus of the Defiance. You chose to stay. To fight, I respect that. But know this, I'm not done yet. I'm not finished. Come for me if you want. But I promise you, some of you won't go home. It was a bluff. A huge bluff. But delivered with such confidence that the Crithian warriors hesitated. Could the human really have more tricks? More traps? After everything they'd seen? Thax heard the message, saw his warriors hesitate. He knew it was probably a bluff. The human ship was finished. But probably wasn't, certainly. And that doubt, that fear, that was humanity's real weapon. All ships, Thax ordered. Attack formation. On my mark. Suddenly, new contacts appeared on the sensors. Ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. 5 of them. All human vessels. Marcus smiled. Actually, I wasn't bluffing about backup. 5 human warships materialized from the darkness of space. They were bigger than the Defiance, newer. Their weapons were charged. Their shields were bright. They formed a protective line in front of Marcus's damaged ship. On Thax's bridge, alarms blared. His tactical officer's voice shook. Sir, 5 more human vessels. They're military-class destroyers, each one as powerful as our cruisers. Thax stared at the screen. His remaining 50 ships suddenly seemed very small, very vulnerable. A new human face appeared on his communication screen. An older woman. Gray hair, sharp eyes. She wore a captain's uniform with many medals. I am Captain Rodriguez of the Human Defense Fleet, she said. Her voice was calm but carried authority. The Defiance was never alone, Commander. It was the scout, the test. The bait? Thax felt cold fear crawl up his spine. Bait? Yes, Rodriguez continued. We wanted to see if the Crithian Empire could be reasoned with. If you were honorable warriors or just bullies. Captain Marcus volunteered to find out. On the Defiance, Marcus listened. He hadn't known reinforcements were coming. Command had told him he would be alone. But apparently they had followed at a distance, watching, waiting. You sent one ship to face 500? Thax couldn't believe it. That was your plan? No, Rodriguez replied. Our plan was to judge your character. If you had let the Defiance leave peacefully, we would have known you were reasonable. We could have talked. Made peace. But you attacked. You chased. You tried to kill one scout ship with overwhelming force. That told us everything we needed to know about your Emperor. On the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon stood frozen. This entire battle was a test, and he had failed? Rodriguez continued speaking. Now you face a choice, Commander Thax. You have 50 damaged ships. We have 6 fresh vessels. The Defiance showed you what one human ship can do. Imagine what 6 can do. Thax said nothing. He imagined it. He didn't want to. But we don't want more death, Rodriguez said. We're not like your Emperor. We don't waste lives for pride. So I'm making the same offer Captain Marcus made. Leave, go home, live. This battle is over. Thax looked at his remaining ships. His loyal warriors. They had stayed when others fled. They had fought when fighting seemed impossible. They deserved to see their homes again. And if we refuse? Thax asked quietly. Rodriguez's face hardened. Then we'll do what we must. But know this, if we fight, none of you will survive. And we'll send the evidence of this battle to every species in the galaxy. They'll see how your Emperor sent 500 ships to kill one scout. How he sacrificed you for nothing. How he chose pride over the lives of his warriors. It was a threat, but also truth. The galaxy would see, would judge. The Crithian Empire's reputation would be destroyed. Thax made his decision. He had already lost 250 ships, thousands of warriors. He wouldn't lose 50 more. Not for an emperor who watched safely from his throne while others died. Stand down, Thax ordered his fleet. All ships. Cease hostilities. We're leaving. His officers looked relieved. His warriors looked grateful. They had survived. That was victory enough, a wise choice, Rodriguez said. But before you go, there's a message. From us to your Emperor. Marcus's face appeared on screen again. Despite his injuries, despite his exhaustion, he looked strong. Determined. Emperor Zarkon, Marcus began. You're watching this. I know you are. So listen carefully. On his throne, the Emperor leaned forward. Rage and shame battled in his chest. You sent 500 ships to destroy one human scout, Marcus continued. You thought it would be easy. You thought we were weak. You thought wrong. Marcus paused. Let his words sink in. Today you learned that humans don't measure strength by size. We measure it by will, by determination, by the refusal to surrender even when death seems certain. Your warriors are brave. They fought well. But you sent them to die for nothing. For pride, for ego. The Emperor's hands clenched, but he couldn't look away. 400 of your ships are destroyed, Marcus said. Thousands of your people are dead. And what did you gain? Nothing, except the knowledge that humanity is not weak. We're not easy prey. We're survivors. We're fighters. We're dangerous when cornered. Marcus's voice grew colder, harder. So here's our message. Human space is off limits. If you attack us again, we won't send one ship. We won't send 6 ships. We'll send everything. Every vessel. Every weapon. Every human who can hold a gun. And your empire will burn. The Emperor wanted to rage, to scream, to order immediate attack. But he couldn't, because he knew. He knew the human meant every word. But, Marcus continued, his voice softening slightly, we don't want war. We want peace. We want a trade. To learn from each other. To grow together. The choice is yours, Emperor. Be our enemy and die, or leave us alone and live. Marcus nodded once. The next move is yours. The transmission ended. On Thax's ship, the commander ordered retreat. All 50 ships turned away. Engines engaged. They flew toward home, toward life, toward families they thought they'd never see again. As they left, Thax sent a private message to Marcus. Just 2 words, thank you. Marcus read it. Smiled slightly. Then his ship's systems finally failed. The Defiance went dark. Emergency power only, but it didn't matter. The battle was over. Captain Rodriguez ordered her ships to help. They surrounded the Defiance, sent repair crews, medical teams. Within hours, Marcus and his crew were safe. Their ship was being fixed. You did well, Rodriguez told Marcus as they met on her ship. Better than we hoped. I almost died, Marcus replied. But you didn't. You survived. That's what humans do, she smiled. And now the galaxy knows it too. On the Crithian homeworld, Emperor Zarkon sat alone in his throne room. His advisors had left. His generals had nothing to say. He had made the worst mistake of his reign. Attacked a species he didn't understand. Lost half a fleet. Gained nothing. The old advisor entered quietly. My lord? Speak, the Emperor said tiredly. The council is meeting. They want to discuss relations with humanity. The Emperor nodded slowly. Relations. Diplomacy, peace. Words he had ignored before. Words that might save his empire now. Send word to all fleets, the Emperor ordered. Human space is restricted. No ship enters it without permission. No attacks. No provocations. Yes, my lord. An advisor? The Emperor looked at the old man. You were right. About everything. I should have listened. The advisor bowed. The wise leader learns from mistakes, my lord. Far away in human space, the Defiance was repaired. Marcus returned to Earth a hero. His crew were celebrated across all human worlds. The story spread through the galaxy like wildfire. 1 human ship versus 500 alien warships. 1 crew against an empire. 1 captain who refused to surrender. Other species heard the tale. They looked at humanity differently now. Not as new species. Not as primitives. But as equals. As warriors. As survivors. The Crithian Empire never attacked human space again. They learned their lesson. They learned to respect the small species from the 3rd planet. The species that fought with creativity, determination, and courage. Years later, humans and Crithians became allies. Trading partners, even friends. The battle that almost started a war became the foundation for peace. And whenever young warriors asked how it happened, the old veterans told the story. The story of the Defiance, the story of Captain Marcus, the story of the day humanity proved itself to the galaxy. They sent 500 ships, the veterans would say. We sent 1. They thought numbers decided battles. They were wrong. That day, the Crithian Empire learned what every species must eventually learn. Never underestimate humanity. Never corner a human. Never assume that small means weak. Because humans don't measure strength by size. We measure it by spirit. And our spirit is unbreakable. On Earth, in a quiet office, Marcus read reports about the growing friendship between humans and Crithians. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, military cooperation against common threats, all because of one battle, one day, one impossible fight. His young assistant asked, "Captain, were you scared that day?" Marcus thought about it. About the 500 ships. The impossible odds, the moment he thought he would die. Terrified, he admitted. Every second, but you kept fighting. Yes, why? Marcus looked out the window. At Earth, at the stars beyond, at the future humanity had earned. Because fear doesn't mean weakness, he said. It means you understand the danger. The courage is doing it anyway. Fighting anyway. Surviving anyway, he smiled. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us unstoppable.